What's up, guys? Welcome back to the next video on learning Java. My name is Curious Dani, and you guys watching my channel Croyal. Alright, so in this video, we're going to talk about variables, declaring variables in Java. So, what is this variables? A variable is a named location in memory that stores a value. Values can be anything. Numbers, it can be text, it can be images, it can be sounds, it can be anything that you guys can store in say computer's memory. So first, how do we declare a variable? Say for example, you're like declaring your name. So if I ask you what is your name, and you say, for example, you say my name is Michael, for example, it means you're declaring your name. That's exactly true with computer. You guys need to declare something, a variable. So you can put your variable like here in this case is a camel case. So what is camel case? Camel case in programming, if you type for example a string, my name is Yazdani. So now if you look in here, it's very confusing for people gonna come in after yourself to see what you guys wrote. And if you look in here, very confusing. Then if you put it here this way, if you put a string, my name is Yazdani. So now you guys tell me which one's a lot easier to read. Is that the bottom one's a lot easier to read or the top one? Both of them is variable. The top one is quite acceptable. This is pretty much fine. There is nothing wrong, except there is the string is lowercase, and you guys need to put your strings uppercase. And the bottom one, my name is Yazdani, is pretty much very clean. This is called camel case in programming. For readability purposes, or if you guys make your life very easy, you guys always use camel case. If you use this ones, or if you use some weird numbers, say for example if you put an int, say for example you put a xyz abc, then you go int zzz abc, then you go int then sss tx. Alright, so now down the track you guys gonna build a lot of problem for yourself, because this one's a lot harder to remember. And this is both very unreadable, and in the long term you guys not gonna remember this. Trust me, you guys, there is no way you guys can remember this. So instead of writing xyz whatever the weird number, if you put it int, for example login, or int addition, for example. So now this is very say for example very readable, and you guys can remember this. Whatever variable you put it here is because for the addition. So why there is for addition, then you guys gonna look your methods, whatever the methods, or you guys gonna look the functionality of this addition. Every guy is you're gonna see this variable, you're gonna remember this is for addition. Very easy. So just the things to remember, points to remember for you guys, to when you declare your variables, make sure you put it in camel case. If it's very long variable, say for example my name is Yazdani, our you can see here in this case is my name. So this is out of the way. As I said that this one, as we talked about, is this one's called declaration. We already talked about this. Each variable has a type, and this type is here, the data types. We already talked about the data types. As we discussed, we have 8 data types, and the first one, as we said, is a byte, which is 8-bit. The second one is short, 16-bit, and then it's going to be int, 32-bit, and then long, 64-bit. Char or car is 16-bit, float is 32-bit, double is 64-bit, and boolean is, you don't have any specification for boolean, because boolean is yes and no. The type determines what kind of the value it can store, and the variables starts with the lowercase letters. As you can see in this case, as I already typed with you guys. If you look in here, we all putting in the lowercase letters. So we normally use camel case for long variables. We already talked about that. So here Java has nearly 50 reserved word. We cannot, keep in mind, it's a not. We cannot use the reserved word as a variable. Them say as variable names. Say for example, you can use no Java reserved words such as main, our class, public, private, int, string, whatever, void. Say for example, you guys cannot put a int, for example, main. You cannot do that because the main is reserved word in Java, because you cannot put a int private, or you cannot put a int void. You cannot use this ones. Beside this one, you can make your own variable names. So you can make up your own variable names that represent real world. For example, programming. Say for example, means. You can words, for example, if you wanna make variable for a login, just put a string login. Or if you are making, for example, for registration, you can put a string registration. So if you want to make the long ones, you can put a, say for example, int very long integer, for example. So now this is both readable, and anyone comes and look at your code, it says, okay, this string is very for login, this one is for registration, and this one is very long registration. Make sure you stay away from the numbers. For example, you cannot put a int 1 2 3. You cannot put this. The computer is going to get confused, because this is int 1 2 3, doesn't make any sense to computer. So if you have more than say 1, you can put this one. So if you have int hour, say for example hour minutes, you can put it this way. You can put it this way. You can put in 2, so int hours and minutes. Or if you have just 1, by all means, if you have int, you can put just x, or you can put a y, or you can put a z, no problem. By one by itself is very easy for Java. So you guys need to declare your variable at the beginning of every program. Keep in mind, Java is a statically typed language. You guys need to put your variable. Java needs a variable before at the start of the program, just like a C and C++, because Java is written inside C++. So anything happens inside the C++, if you guys learn C++, that's rules exactly applies exactly in Java, because Java takes the object-oriented programming of C++. So that's what you guys can do everything with classes. But when it comes to declaring variables or data types, whatever, you guys have to follow the C type, the C laws, whatever the types are there inside the C. Alright, so now we're gonna recap what we have learned so far. We declaring variable. Declaring is just like declaring your name, declaring your country, declaring your country flag or whatever, declaring your passport. Just like if you guys going to some airport and says you have to declare something, what you have in your bags, whatever, you guys sign up some sort of documents. This is called declaration. You need to declare. If you guys go in court of law, they ask you if you guys gotta declare something. It means if you guys have to say, or if you guys making some sort of for example statement, something you guys need to declare. So you guys need to say it loudly. That's declaration. Say for example, that's exactly true in computer science. We have to declare something before we start writing our program. So a variable is a named location in memory that stores value. So in computer memory, there are boxes inside the computer memory, and when you guys come here, it says int, for example, x. then whatever X you guys gonna put it, that goes inside the computer memory, and it says stores there is a location there somewhere. So the computer assigns the computer memory assigns location for this variable, and when the computer assigns the location, then the computer remembers the location, so whatever the location is. And in the future videos of showing you guys the Java, then we're going to go and retrieve the location. We're going to go and find the location. What location is, say for example, int x. Java has stored this int x, so you can see the location if you issue some commands. So we can see the location, and as I said that strings, my name is a camel case, the statement, and we're going to come here. It says this statement is called a declaration. We already discussed each variable has a type, and this is the type is a string, int. It can be car, it can be byte, it can be short, it can be int, it can be long, char, or car, float, it can be double, or finally it can be boolean, which is true and false. So the type determines what kind of value it can store. So here determines, now the Java knows that you guys were intending to use a string, and here Java knows that now that you're intending to put a int. Say for example, if you put a float, a z, whatever, the Java is going to remember that you guys intending to use decimal, float, or double. So variables start with lowercase letters, and you can see here with the lowercase, if you guys very long, you use the camel case. We normally use a camel case for long variables. So Java has nearly 50 reserved words, and as we already know that we talked about the reserved words and keywords, and they called keywords. So we call it keywords. We already talked about keywords in a previous video. So Java has nearly 50 reserved words, and we call them keywords. We already talked about the keywords. We cannot use them as a variable names, as we said here. You cannot use any of these keywords like main, class, public, private, int, string, void. Make up your own variable names that represent real world programming means, whatever real world you're looking. So if you have one, you can put it this way, but don't stay away from the using digits and the first one's letters. If you are using the camel case, make sure always the first one's going to come lowercase. So declaring variable, now you're going to see here the year, month, day. If you guys have more than one, you can put just a comma in between. So here is just one. If you have a multiple, you can use it this way. Alright, so this is our class. As we said here that we're going to remove these ones. You can declare your variables. Say for example, you can put an int y, int a. You can use this way. Or if you have two int, you can just put a comma a. You can put a b, multiple, triple here. Now Java is going to treat all of them as an int. You can use one by one. So you can put a string, for example, first name, and you can put a string, last name, and for example, you can put a double. You can put a double, for example, you can put a my number, your number. You can put it this way. So if you look in here, we have using 3, but we are just using simple letters. We can put a first name and last name. It's a camel case. That's also camel case. So how about if you're gonna come and we put a, for example, put an int 1 2 3, and if you look in here, we're getting error straight away. Identifier expected. So this is 104, unexpected token. Java is extremely made. The Java, they don't like the way you guys gonna put it here. The digits, you cannot put digits. Say for example, if you put a 500, your put a xxx here like this, is also a problem. You cannot use any digit here. So how about if you're gonna come here int, for example, we put a xx. This much pretty much fine. See here, Java has no problem issues with this, but Java has issues with this. As soon as you guys gonna put it here, Java is gonna say no, I'm not gonna accept this, because numbers you cannot put it as a variable. So how are you guys gonna put this variable? How you guys gonna put it? For example, if you have int x, for example, if you have an int x and y, you can use it in mathematical operation. You can use this, but how you going to use this in mathematical operations? Because this by itself is a value. So this one by itself is a digit. You can assign to this one, which we're going to talk about in the next, in the next video. So you can use this one as a variable. This is not a very good idea to use this. As soon as you guys going to see, your program is going to crash. And stay away from this one. You can use this one, you can use it this way. Just put the numbers, and now the first letter is always the lowercase. Make sure your variable is going to be the lowercase. If it's a very long, for readability purposes, to make your life a lot easier, you guys always use camel case. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, Crywood. If you guys have any question or comment, leave it in the comment box. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video, and bye.